Well, since the time extensions that can be allocated to different students are either time and a half or double time, here's how we would go about setting up a Blackboard course so that the students who are allowed to have the extended time will be able to get that without my having to go into each and every test, each and every semester that this comes up as an issue. Okay, I'm trying to be lazy here is what it is. To start, I'm going to create a manual enroll group, name it something nice and obvious, leave it not visible to students, and then uncheck all of the tools, because the only purpose for this group is going to be listing users, when necessary, who are entitled to time and a half. Then I can do the same thing again to get the double time. And now I have the two groups with very obvious names as to what they're for. They're not available, so students won't see them even if they're enrolled, but right now nobody's enrolled in them. Next, we'll go to a test that's already deployed, although this will also work with a test that has not been deployed yet. When you first deploy it, you could do this, and it would be best if you just built this into your normal workflow. This particular test available with a time limit of 30 minutes and auto submit turned on, which is, probably a fairly typical way that you might set up a timed test. So we go to the test availability exceptions and say we want to add user or group, choose the groups that we just created, and submit. And now it shows us entries for those two things, and both entries default to the general settings for this test. But pretty obviously we want to change the time allowed. In the case of the 1.5, we just change that to 45 minutes. And in the case of the test time 2 group, we'll make it 60. Okay? And you do that every time you set up a test. Now, let's assume that you were going to be copying or exporting this material. How can you make sure that those groups go along with it? Well, I'll show you using export, although the same controls exist for the course copy tool. In addition to choosing the content areas that contain the links to the test and other things that you hopefully are making a habit of doing, the grade center columns and settings, so that the test deployments will actually come across, the test surveys and pools themselves, or else there won't be a test to link to. You also need to make sure you include the group settings. Okay? So long as you have the content area with the link to the test, the grade center columns and settings, group settings, and test surveys and pools all selected, which you could also get by simply saying select all, it is going to include the test itself, the link to the test, the groups, and the exceptions for it. So you've maybe set this up one semester and you didn't need it for any students that semester, but a couple of semesters down the road you have a student who is entitled to additional time. Here's what you would do to actually add them to let them have the extra time. You go back into groups, and let's say they're a time and a half student. Say edit group. Come on down here to add users. And it'll give you a list of all of the users in your course. I'll go ahead and choose mine. And now my student account here is in the group. As soon as I hit submit at least, notice now it's showing that there's one enrolled member. And this user still cannot see anything to indicate they are in a group, but when they go to take the test, they're going to see, instead of the standard 30-minute time limit, see, now I'm in as that user, instead of that 30-minute time limit, it's showing the 45-minute one because even though I don't see any listing of it on the course menu or anything, I'm actually in that time and a half group.